Your Honor, in Coral 2, we're gonna have two different sets of groups. So this is the first group.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If you have any objection to your case being held by video today, let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We do have public defenders that are here to represent you today if you choose to utilize their services. Who do we have first, courtroom two?
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting,
Yes,
but
Ms. Kemp.
you have a Spanish interpreter case. May we be broken out to break out?
Okay. So,
Courtroom 1 will join, and that's who will be put in the breakout room.
Okay.
okay. All right. So just let us know. Good afternoon, Ms. Jancy. Thank you for being here today.
First, we'll have position number 7, Ms. Deja Houston. Come on.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Houston. You have been charged in case 24 CR 0030002Y with theft by taking. Is there a history? We have anyone on from pretrial yet?
Yeah, Mr. Howard's joining right now.
Afternoon, Mr. Howard. Whenever you're ready, we're on position number 7, Houston.
We got first arrest. He's 18.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Ms. McCockey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Officers were dispatched to 1815 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Southwest in reference to a dispute. The officer met with the victim, Desiree Jones, who is a juvenile, who stated that her and her ex, the defendant, got into a disagreement and the defendant snatched her purse and took her keys and her bank cards. The defendant then told the victim to get the F out of her house. The victim left out of the front door and began knocking, asking for her belongings. The defendant then opened the door and threw out the victim's purse, but only the victim's phone and driver's license were in the purse, as the defendant had kept her keys and her bank card. The victim then went to a nearby gas station where she called the police. Upon arrival, the officer saw the defendant walking towards the gas station, where she was subsequently detained. The defendant stated that she wanted the victim to cool off and then she was going to give her her belongings back. The state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with the victim, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Who is the victim, Ms. McCockey?
The victim is Desiree Jones, and we did have on the report that she was a juvenile, so that's why it didn't sound for her.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 18 years old. First arrest, we would be seeking a signature bond through the jail. She would have no problem with any stay away or no further contact provision.
Okay. Who lives at the 1815 MLK Jr. address?
It appeared that was, oh, go ahead, Mr. Cook.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It appeared that was the defendant's residence, since the defendant did state, "Get the F out of my house."
Right. So you're not asking. I just wanted to make clear that the state's not asking for a stay away.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Desiree Jones, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Houston.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we go to position number 4, Mr. Jeremy Collins.
So position 4, Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins, you've been charged in case 24 CR 0030003Y with theft by taking, 2 counts. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 60. arrest out of Kentucky for public intoxication. 2023 couple of parole violations. 2023 FTA. 2021 criminal mischief, public intoxication, contempt of court. 2019 terrorist threats, tampering with evidence conviction, and a 2018 bail jumping conviction. Oh yeah, 2012 robbery conviction. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, Ms. McConkey.
Thank you. On May 12th, 2024, the officer was dispatched regarding a theft where the victim had a visual on the person whom they witnessed stealing. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the victim, Mr. Christopher Merriweather, who stated that he had camera footage of the defendant stealing items off of his porch at his residence. The victim advised that the defendant was sitting on a bench at 356 Moreland Avenue Southeast. The officer went to the location and detained the defendant. The officer reviewed the ring camera footage of the defendant stealing a black colored wallet belonging to Mr. Merriweather and an iPhone 14 belonging to Mr. Merriweather's wife, Miss Natasha Merriweather. The officer placed the suspect into custody and searched his person, where he did find the victim's wallet. The iPhone 14 was not on the defendant's person. We have had a chance to speak with the victim, Mr. Christopher Merriweather, who confirmed the events in the warrant. He did state that his credit cards were still in his wallet when it was returned, but he was missing $200 in cash. He has not received, his wife, Natasha Merriweather, has not had her phone recovered, and the victim stated that at this point he would just like his phone back. The state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond for each theft. No further contact with the victims. Stay away from the victim's residence, which is 961 Faith Avenue, Southeast Atlanta. And no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And at this time, I will sound for the victims, Mr. Christopher Merriweather and Natasha Merriweather.
Either Mr. or Miss Merriweather are with us and wish to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I would just say that this was
Okay,
very
hold
shocking.
on, hold on, Mr. Merriweather. I'm happy to have you here this afternoon. If you'd like to speak with the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. If we can unmute him.
Yes.
Yes. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, Mr. Merriweather?
Yeah, I would say that this was something shocking that somebody so bold would do this and do it on Mother's Day, my wife's first Mother's Day, while we were in the process of taking photos. Literally, the tripod was still out there, the flowers were still out there. And I had literally told my wife that, no one would come up here and take this, that because that would just be something that, be really bold of somebody to do. So I would say that, this is obviously not his first time doing this. And I would say that also, it ruined my wife's first Mother's Day after having, a really hard time with our child in a NICU, et cetera. So this was something that turned it upside down. And I damn sure would like an apology at some point from him. But I do believe in, forgiveness. But I do want my wife's phone back. And if there's a way that we can get the phone back, if he knows where it is, I would like that back. Because there's photos on there that we took pictures of the morning of the first Mother's Day for my wife, et cetera, and then other business things, et cetera, on that phone. It's not about the money. I believe in God, and I also believe in rehabilitation. And I'll pray for rehabilitation for you, sir. But I do know that, if we were able to get the phone back, that'd be really helpful for my wife. And since our first Mother's Day was ruined by your actions.
Thank you very much. This is only a bond hearing this afternoon. You will work with the solicitor's office as the case moves forward, and they'll keep you informed of where the case will remain. Okay, Mr. Cook, yes.
Yeah, sure. My client is 38 years old. He is homeless, so he's moving around from place to place, some shelters, sometimes not. I can't tell you much more than that, other than he isn't employed, so he has no funds to pay a bondsman. So we would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay. For each charge, it'll be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. and Ms. Merriweather. Stay away from the 8th Avenue address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Collins. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, I'm sorry if I could interrupt. I sent an email to Deputy Norris about position 9 and position 12. They were arrested, I believe, on Friday, right around 2 p.m. So I requested that they be heard at the beginning of the calendar to prevent any Riverside issues. I don't know if that's possible, but position 9 and position 12.
Yeah, Norris did forward that email to me. This is Deputy Saint Seren. And Mrs. Malone, she's a waiver. Mrs. McClure, it should be at ACDC and should be on Zoom. So we can do position 9, Miss Malone.
If the court's okay with that, Your Honor, that would be the state's preference, please.
Who's representing Adrian Malone?
I'm representing both, Your Honor, and I mean, they're already both Riverside issues.
Well, I would argue that court started at 2. Ms. Malone was arrested at 2 p.m. on Friday. So I think that we had a hearing, or the hearing started within the 72-hour mark. And then McClure said that she was arrested at 2:11. So the state's position that it's not Riverside because court starts at 2. And I mean, your client if her presence, so.
Well, Your Honor, it's past 2 right now.
Okay, let's go ahead and take it. I'll just go ahead and hear it and we'll see where we end up, okay? So this is on position number 9, Adrian Malone, charged in case 24 CR 0029998G with battery. Is there history, Mr. Howard?
Second, resident of Houston. Last was 2014 suspended license.
Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Desiano.
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident occurred on May 10th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 485 Brankford Court Southwest in South Fulton in reference to a person shot. Upon arrival, officers found the defendant in the residence with a gunshot wound to her leg. Officers stated that when she arrived, the defendant was in the middle of a physical altercation with a woman named Champagne Cobb, and officers had to break them up. They stated that the defendant did have a pistol in her hand at the time they arrived. They interviewed both parties, Your Honor. There's a little bit of conflicting, so I'm just going to briefly go over what each party said. According to Ms. Cobb, who would be the victim in this case, she said that the defendant was visiting her residence. She told the defendant that morning that she needed to leave, and the defendant refused. An altercation ensued. Ms. Cobb pulled out a handgun, fired twice, hit the defendant once in the leg. The officers went to Grady and spoke with the defendant. She confirmed that she and her friend were staying with Ms. Cobb for the past couple days. She said there was an argument that occurred earlier. She said that Ms. Cobb held her down on the couch. They began fighting. Then Ms. Cobb bit her on the forehead as they were fighting. She also advised that Ms. Cobb grabbed a glass bottle, broke the bottom of it, and came at her with it. She was able to stop Ms. Cobb from stabbing her, and they began fighting again until a friend broke them up, at which point Ms. Cobb grabbed a gun and shot the defendant in the leg. Ms. Cobb was at a different hospital. The officers went to the different hospital and spoke to her, and she said that, again, they were in a verbal dispute over her leaving, over the defendant leaving. She tried to stand up. The defendant yoked her back on the couch. She said that she then threw up and urinated on herself to get the defendant to leave her alone, but that did not work. She said the defendant bit her stomach and held on to the skin. Then they separated. The defendant apparently charged at her again, began punching her. She did confirm that she grabbed the glass bottle and broke it. She also confirmed that she did grab the gun because she didn't want to look like a P word, fired one round, which missed the defendant. Then the defendant was still charging at her, so she fired again. She said even after she shot her, she was charging at her again, and they went to the bathroom. She said the defendant bust through the door and grabbed the firearm and pistol whipped her with it. And at that point, the police showed up pretty soon after that. There were multiple injuries on both people, and the police could not determine who the primary aggressor was, so both parties were arrested. The cross defendant was charged with felonies. And because there is a firearm involved, Your Honor, and there were multiple injuries and the police could not determine who the primary aggressor was, the state is recommending for this defendant a $10,000 surety bond, a no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, 12 weeks anger management, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. Obviously, I'll mirror what Mr. Walker said. The state does not believe this is a Riverside issue because court started promptly at 2 p.m. and the arrest happened at 2 p.m. 72 hours ago.
So were they both taken to the hospital?
They were both taken to the hospital, but they were taken to different hospitals.
And Ms. Malone was shot. What happened to Ms. Cobb?
I believe
Why
Ms.
did-
Cobb is in jail.
No. Why did she need, what injuries did Ms. Cobb have? Excuse
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry. She had bite marks and lacerations.
Okay. Ms. Atai?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. She is the mother of 3 minor children. She does firmly deny the allegations in the warrant. She was shot 2 times in the leg. As you heard, I mean, I didn't hear much of what she did other than defending herself. She was shot 2 times in the leg. When I interviewed her, she was laying in the bed in the jail with 2 black eyes, bite marks on her face, bite marks on her shoulder, on her arm. She was covered in injuries, Your Honor, in addition to the 2 gunshot wounds to her leg. And Your Honor, this is a Riverside issue. She was arrested over 72 hours ago. And as you heard, her last arrest was 10 years ago. And I don't think it was anything violent, Your Honor. A $10,000 surety bond is absurd in this case. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. She is injured. Her gunshot wounds are bleeding right now. Her bandages were falling off. In the Rice Street jail is not the place to recover from an attack like this. So I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. No further contact is fine, of course. And a stay away, I think she does have some things there. She said her sister may be able to get it for her, but I would just ask for a one-time law enforcement escort if she feels safe enough to even go with a police officer to get her things.
Okay, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Cobb. Stay away from the Branford Court address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, who do we have next?
And Your Honor, I see the ACDC on the line, so is there a way we could sound for position 12 to see if they can come on, or?
They're looking around, so I'm not sure if Officer Milton is coming or not. So I'll go there as soon as Officer Milton,
Thank
if
you.
Officer Milton is there. They don't seem to be able to see her. So who do we have? And we do have Ms. Champagne's client. I'm not sure who that is.
Sure.
Female.
Okay, so she's probably ACDC also. So we'll get with you as soon as we get somebody there. I just wanted to acknowledge that I see that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Okay.
3, Mr. Roland Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You have been charged in case 24 CR 0029991E with possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and improper passing in a no passing zone. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Mr.
Your Honor,
Esiano?
this incident took place around 10 p.m. on May 10th, 2024. An officer was patrolling the area of Roosevelt Highway and Cam Creek Parkway in the city of College Park when he observed a gold 2001 Toyota 4Runner cross the double solid lines dividing the roadway. He activated his emergency lights and attempted a traffic stop. The vehicle continued for some time to travel south on Roosevelt Highway and finally turned into the Convention Center concourse, making a complete stop at the intersection. Upon approaching the vehicle, the officer asked the driver why he didn't immediately stop, and he stated he was scared of being pulled over. While speaking to the defendant, the officer smelled a strong odor of marijuana emitting from inside the vehicle. He asked the defendant to exit the vehicle, at which point the defendant advised there are guns in here before completely exiting the vehicle. During the search, the officer located 10 grams of marijuana, a silver slide brown frame 9mm loaded with 5 rounds between the driver's seat and the cushion and the armrest, and then a green and silver 38 special loaded with 5 rounds in the driver's side door pocket. Upon checking the defendant's driver's license, he is only 17 years of age. The state is recommending a $10,000 surety on count 1, a $500 surety on count 2, a $500 surety on count 3, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
I'm sorry, 10, 5, and 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 5,000 good on the possession of marijuana and 5,000 good on a no passing.
I'm sorry, no, 500, Judge, not 5,000.
Oh, 500, oh, okay.
500 on counts 2 and 3, and then 10,000
Okay.
on count 1.
Okay, thank you. I misunderstood. Mr. Cook, yes.
No. Oh, I'm okay. I'm sorry. I saw Ms. Shemp. Okay. Yes, my client is 17 years old. He is still in high school. He denies the charges as described in the warrant. And we would object to a surety bond and on any of the counts. We would be looking for a signature only bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate. I do have, although I have not been able to get in touch with him, I do have his father's name and number, and would be contacting him in regard to any of the bond issues.
Okay, so you haven't been able to speak with.
Not yet. I've attempted, and I've gotten a voice message, but I do have a good name, and his name is also Roland Brown, and phone number for him as well. So I will continue doing that.
Okay. Well, until you do that, I'm not putting the 17-year-old young man back on the street without knowing that he has a place to live. You speaking with his parent or parents, knowing whether or not he's in school, knowing whether he has a job or anything of that nature. So I am willing, Mr. Cook, I am on the SAP calendar in 1 week, next Tuesday. I'm willing to place him on that calendar to reconsider a signature bond if you want to get that information to the court at that time.
Yes, I'll be continuing throughout the hearings when I'm not being called to see if I can reach him, but certainly we'd like him on the SAP calendar.
Okay, so Ms. Strong, if you wouldn't mind placing Mr. Brown on the SAP calendar a week from tomorrow, which is going to be the 21st, so that I can see him back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so at this time, until you speak with someone, Mr. Cook, I am going to take the recommendation of the state, a $10,000 good bond on the possession of a pistol by someone under 18, 500 for the marijuana, 500 for the improper passing, makes for an $11,000 good bond. Let's see, a curfew, he's to be in by 9, if he gets out, he's to be home by 9 p.m. and he's to stay home until 6 a.m. and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If you'll get your counterparts in SAP to report to me back a week from Tuesday, if he's still in custody, I'd like to hear from his parents and anyone else that you all can raise in the matter. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I will do that. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown. Yes, who do we have at ACDC?
Miss McClure, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Officer Milton. Is this the one that we needed, Mr. Walker?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Ms. McClure. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 002983Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 980 Howell Mill Road, where they met with the victim, Mr. Mr. Lance Trailer. He advised that him and the defendant are in a relationship and they were residing at their location. They were having a disagreement that turned physical, at which point the defendant struck the victim in his face several times. Upon speaking with the defendant, she admitted to the officer that she was upset and she struck the victim in his face. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. We have had contact with Mr. Trailer. He advised that they no longer live at that location nor live together, so a stay away would not be necessary, but we will be asking for a no contact, a family violence intervention program, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And for the record, I believe that this person was arrested Friday at 2:11 p.m. As I stated earlier, court started at 2. So at the point that ACDC logged on and you initially read the inmates their initial rights, that was the start of the hearing, and this is not a Riverside issue. I'm not sure if Mr. Trailer is on the line, but we would sound for Mr. Lance Trailer.
Mr. Trailer is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Mr. Ty?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yes. Mr. Trailer, if you'd like to address the court, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, I need for you to activate your camera. Okay, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, sir?
I feel safe being around Brianna. We've had a relationship for a year and a half, and I don't believe this will be a reoccurring event. I know that she's sorry for what she did, and I would like to just get her out as quickly as possible.
Okay. Has this happened before?
Yes, but just like it was very small. Like this is the worst it's been ever. So I don't feel threatened at all.
Okay, so you're not afraid of her?
Not at all.
And do you all live together?
We have been residing together. Our lease just happened to end like right when this happened. So right now we don't reside together because we gotta find a place, but yeah, we don't live together right now.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 25 years old. She has lived in Georgia all her life. She does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. As you heard from the complaining witness, he does want contact with her. This is also her very first arrest, Your Honor, and I would say that this is a Riverside issue. She was arrested more than 72 hours ago. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail, also because it's her first arrest. I would object to the FVIP, and so no violent contact, a signature bond through the jail. A stay away from the incident location is fine because I think they're both moving out of there, and nothing further.
Your Honor, briefly, I asked for a FVIP course because as the victim stated, our victim advocate reached out to him and he advised her that this was not the first time the defendant has been violent towards him. So the state would think that some type of course would be appropriate.
Okay, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact, Mr. Trailer, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. McClure. Okay, and do we have the person who requires the Spanish interpreter in courtroom 1 there?
Yes, I'm trying to, I put them in the breakout room. Apparently the Spanish interpreter disappeared from the Zoom. I'm trying to get in touch with her now.
Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Lewis.
I mean,
So
I can put them in the breakout room, but the Spanish interpreter won't be in there because she's not on Zoom.
Okay, well, I think we have to get her back, so there's no point in putting them in there until she comes back. Okay,
Okay,
just once she comes back, just go ahead and put whoever needs to be
I
in
will.
there. Okay. Let's see, where are we going next?
Petition number 5, Mr. Stanley Francois.
Good afternoon, Mr. Francois. You've been charged in case 24 CR 002987Y with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
38. We got an open trespass in state court. Appears to have a open ordinance violation out of Fort Lauderdale. On probation in Fayette County, possession of meth, suspended license. Last arrest was May 6th. You gave him a signature bond through the jail. 2018 battery conviction, 2016 FTA.
Okay. And Mr. Francois, you've also been charged with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. I failed to see that charge. Yes, Ms. McConkey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officers were dispatched to 9995 Old Dogwood Road, which is the Economy Hotel, in reference to a shirtless male stating that his daughters were in trouble and needed the police. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the defendant, who the officer recognized from previous encounters. The defendant began shouting that his daughters were being solicited for sex at the Economy Hotel. The defendant stated that the officers should start in room 335, which was the defendant's old room before he was kicked out. Officers went to the room in question and saw no signs that would lead them to believe that the defendant's daughters were there. As officers were walking back to the defendant, he started sprinting toward the hotel, toward the room in question. Officers were able to talk to the defendant and get him to walk back across the street, where they then arrested the defendant for criminal trespass, as he had already been given a trespass warning on May 3rd, 2024. The officers transported the defendant to North Fulton Hospital, and at the hospital, the defendant became irate and started yelling. As officers were walking the defendant towards his room, he tensed up his body and violently began swinging his shoulders from side to side. It took 4 officers to get the defendant into his room. The state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services to stay away from the incident location, which is the Economy Hotel, and no drug, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, we have no objection to signature on bond through signature on bond. However, we would like to request for signature on bond through jail. Your Honor, he believed that there was one time he can go with a law enforcement officer to retrieve his personal belongings. He was the one who called the police. He was the one who asked to get his ID, his social security card, driver's license, because it is all in that hotel where he was basically trespassing. So he couldn't go there without police. So, however, he became the one who is arrested. We believe that this is kind of error of the officer. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through jail. He has no problem getting away from the hotel.
If the defendant did go back to get his belongings, that's not what he told the officers. He told the officers that he thought his children were being trafficked, and that's why they needed to go to the room, and then tried to run into the hotel room afterwards.
So, Ms. Kim, to your point, though, if he was trying to go back with officers, he just can't call the police. You know, he understands that he has to make arrangements with them so that they can assist him to pick up his belongings. So, if that's the case, that's not how it's accomplished. Number one. Number two, if there's something else going on with Mr. Francois that I need to know about or we need to address. I've given him a signature bond in the past. I know one's requested from the state at this point in time. I just need to know whether or not he needs, does he have a place to stay? Does he need some type of assistance from a social worker? He does. Okay, so I'm gonna order a social worker visit so that we can address whatever it is that that needs to be addressed. Mr. Francois, I've seen you before. I've given you a signature bond before. I'm seeing you again. You're requesting a signature bond. In this case, I just want you to know that if you come back before me one more time, I'm not going to give you a signature bond next time. But I am going to try to assist you with, if you don't have housing, with housing, or if you have some other issues that a social worker can help you with, I'm going to see if we can get you some assistance. Okay, so it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count, makes for $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Economy Hotel. He's not to go back there at all whatsoever. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And a social worker visit. Okay.
Yes.
I haven't seen that wrong. Next, we can go to position number 8, Mr. Mallory.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mallory. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0029996G with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
9th arrest. Got an open simple battery. State court 21 CR 005 154G. 2022 probation. 2020 ag assault first offender. 2017 domestic assault conviction. And a 2014 battery.
Do you have the bond on that simple battery that's open?
I don't.
Okay. Yes,
I can
Mr. Siano.
I can pull that up, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, this incident took place May 12th, 2024. Officers responded to a call from one of the neighbors in regards to a loud dispute occurring at 8001 East Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. Upon arrival, officer met with the defendant, who insisted that nothing happened and that no one else was home. However, the officer eventually learned that the victim, Tiara Weston, was in fact there. Officers spoke with the victim, who advised the defendant was drinking heavily. She was fast asleep and was woken up when the defendant struck her with an open fist across the face. An argument broke out. Initially, the victim was telling the defendant to leave. However, upon realizing how intoxicated he was, the victim took the defendant's keys to prevent him from driving. When the victim took the keys, the defendant grabbed her by the hair. I can pull that bond up, Your Honor. I did check. It is a different victim from the open case, however. We have been in touch with the victim. She said that they're in a relationship. They live together. They share a child. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated nothing like this has ever happened before. She's not in fear, and she's okay with having contact with him and with him returning to the residence. Judge, our office is recommending a $2,500 surety bond because he does have the open battery. And although I understand the victim does want contact, there is some concern given his history. He has a very recent ag assault that which he pled guilty to. I understand he got first offender, and he may or may not still be on probation for that, but he does have that open battery. So we're asking for no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, FVIP, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Tiara Weston.
Okay, and after I sound, Ms. Desiano, if you would for me, get me the amount of the previous bond and it was $4,000 surety bond for the previous bond. Okay, so he's already out on a surety bond. Also, all the bonds say no drugs, alcohol, weapons, so he's in violation of that requirement as far as the previous bond goes. Ms. Lewis has also informed me that he is on one of my calendars on that other case on the Orca final plea calendar on August 1st. Okay, Mr. Cook, is this your client?
Yes, Your Honor. It's a lot of information I was not aware of. Given I was not able to get in touch with the alleged victim, given though what was reported to the solicitor's office, we would object to a stay away and no further contact in the FVIP. If she is not afraid of him and they do share a child, we would ask that he be allowed to go back home. And as far as the bond, I would leave that in the discretion of the court.
If Ms. Weston is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Hello?
Yes, is this Miss Tierra Weston?
Yes, this is me. She.
Okay, I'll need for you, if you want to talk to me, I'm gonna need for you to activate your camera for me and to, I'll have to swear you in.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out Zoom. I never done Zoom before.
Okay, you're fine, ma'am.
Hold on. See. Hmm. Um, Sorry, Judge. Give me 1 second.
Your Honor, you did get that bond information. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, I did.
Okay, okay,
It was a $4,000 surety bond.
right.
I apologize, Judge. Ms. Weston, I'm sending you the prompt to start your video. Do you see it?
Ms. Strong, I did that to her already. She's just having trouble clicking the correct buttons, I guess.
Are you still with us, Miss Weston?
I think she logged off, Judge, and logging back on now.
Okay, there you are. Is that you, Miss Weston?
Yes, that's me. Sorry, though. My
Okay.
phone is about to die.
Okay, raise your right hand for me. The other right hand.
Sorry.
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down here. What would you like to tell me, ma'am?
Well, I would like for him to come home because I don't want him to be separated from our son because our son is also 1 year old. And this have never happened before. We've been together 4 years. We never had any problems. And I just think he was having a bad day.
Okay, and you're telling me that this has never happened in the past?
No, sir.
And oh, you're afraid of him?
No.
All right. And is he providing for your child?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything further?
I'm sorry.
Anything further?
No, I just feel like we just need to like talk it out and maybe he needs to go to like classes for it. But other than that, I'm okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Cook.
Nothing further, Your Honor. We would just,
Okay.
again, object to the FVIP, the stairway, the no further contact, and I'd leave the bond in the court's discretion. Which it is anyway, but.
Okay. It's gonna be $1,000 good bond, no further violent contact with Miss Western, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Let's see, Mr. Mallory, hold on before you go. You have it in place that you're not to have any drugs, alcohol, or weapons. No alcohol. You're in violation of that other bond because you've had alcohol and it's been stated that you've had alcohol. If I find out that you're drinking again, when you come back, we're gonna have a problem, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
We can go to position number 10, Mr. Marsh.
Good afternoon, Mr. Marsh. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0030000J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
9th arrest. 2023 suspended license. 2021 FTA. That's it.
Your Honor, this incident took place on May 8th, 2024. Officers responded to a domestic call occurring at 2765 Dresden Trail in East Point. Upon arrival, the officer met with the defendant's father, who advised that his son struck him in the face several times. The officer observed a laceration on the right side of the victim's face, a scratch near his left eye, and blood coming from his mouth. We have been in touch with the victim. However, we weren't able to speak with him for very long. I don't have any information from him to add. I do believe this is a Riverside issue, Your Honor, because he was arrested May 8th at 2:20 p.m. So with that, the state would be recommending a signature bond through the jail and no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, FVIP, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for the victim, Oswald Marsh Sr.
If Oswald Marsh Sr. is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
It's my client, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ty, yes.
Okay, Your Honor, my client is 39 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is the father to 4 minor children. He is gainfully employed as a painter. He does firmly deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He has scratches on his head and his face. And of course, this is a Riverside issue. So I was able to, his wife told me that her mother-in-law and father-in-law are on the line. They're on the Zoom call. I believe that they do want contact. They all live together, Your Honor, with his parents and also his sister and her children. So many members of the family live together in the home, as well as he and his wife and his 4 children. So I would object to the stay away. And hopefully they will be able to make that statement. And I would object to the FVIP, Your Honor. He has no violent history.
Is this Ms. Marsh on the line here? Oswald Marsh or Sonia Marsh?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Marsh, would you like to address the court this afternoon in regards to your son?
Oh no, I'm the wife. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Ms.
I'm
Marsh.
sorry.
No, you're fine. And you live with your mother-in-law and father-in-law?
Yes, sir.
And raise your right hand for me, Ms. Marsh. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And have you spoken with them in regards to this matter?
I have not. I've
Okay.
spoken to my sister-in-law, but not my mother or father-in-law.
And do you live with your mother and father-in-law?
I do. Oops,
Okay.
sorry.
And you're staying in the same household with them, but you have not spoken with them about this incident where their son is incarcerated.
Not yet. It just hasn't been any real communication. I went to my brother's house for the weekend, so I have not talked to them yet. But they are on the Zoom call, so.
Okay, well, I've sounded for them and they don't seem to be responding, so.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for being here this afternoon. Anything further, counsel?
No problem.
Nothing further for now. If I am able to make a phone call to the parents and see, I just would hate for the whole family to be displaced. So if we could revisit the contact and the stay away.
Okay, I'm gonna make my decision now. If you can, I just think it's a little odd that that this allegedly occurred on 5/8 and that there's been no contact by the wife with the mother or father-in-law where they live, and the son is incarcerated. So it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail because of the Riverside issue. No further contact at this point with Mr. and Ms. Marsh, Oswald Marsh. Stay away from the Dresden Trail address. You can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Marsh. You also, Ms. Marsh. Let's see. Can we go to is someone there at ACDC with Miss Champagne's client?
You can call her up. What's your client's name?
Well, Officer Milton doesn't, oh, here she comes. What's your client's name?
Its last name's Uemoto, Your Honor. Masami. Thank you, Deputy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And that's position number 19, Masami Uemoto. Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Uemoto. You have been charged in case 24 CR 0030001Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Ms. McCockey?
Yes. So the officer responded to a call at 175 Morton Manor Court in Johns Creek, and that is the party's residence. The victim, Mr. Joseph Zarzor, advised that he and his wife, the defendant, were on their way to dinner when they had a verbal dispute regarding their daughter. The defendant slapped the glasses off the victim's face, and the victim swatted back with an open hand to defend himself. When they arrived home, the defendant began to strike the victim repeatedly on the back with a closed fist. The party's daughter, who was present during the incident, confirmed the victim's account of the events. The defendant admitted to making physical contact with the victim. We did get a chance to talk to the victim, who confirmed that the parties are married and they do live together at the incident location. He confirmed the events of the warrant and said that this has happened in the past, but he does not fear for his safety and wants to continue contact and wants the defendant to return back to the residence. The state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact, and FVIP, as the victim did tell our victim advocate that this has happened in the past, and no drug, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. At this time, I will sound for the victim, Mr. Joseph Zarzor, if he's on the Zoom.
I see you there, Mr. Zarzor. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You, of course, do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, you'll have to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Doesn't appear that he wishes to address the court. Ms. Champagne?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. My client is 60 years old, Judge. As pretrial mentioned, this is her first arrest. In light of that and in light of Mr. Zarzor, I guess declining to make any other further statements in front of the court today, we would ask that she have an OR bond through the jail instead. Respectfully, this is an incident that appears to be, I'm sorry. Okay.
I think there's just some feedback. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge. Respectfully, this is her first arrest, Your Honor. I don't think that FVIP is necessarily appropriate at this juncture, as this does appear to be a first-time incident, no previous calls to law enforcement before. So we would ask that that OR bond be set through the jail and not through FVIP. We do object to the FVIP course.
Okay. It will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Zarzor, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, ma'am. Anything further this afternoon, counsel?
That's all, Your Honor. Thank you. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
And we go to position number 11, Mr. Tylon Martin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Martin. Let's see, you've been charged in case 24 CR 002982Y with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. Resident of Mississippi. Last arrest was 2023 for assault on a family member out of Texas. Also interference with emergency assistance. That was a conviction. Both of those charges. 2023 terrorist threats, criminal mischief. 2023 assault. That's all.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Reverb Hotel located at 355 Mitchell Street, where they met with the victim, Ms. Shakira Arnett. Her and the defendant, who I believe they're in a relationship, were staying at that hotel for the evening. They were having some type of disagreement. She reported that the defendant had been drinking, had become inebriated. He became physical with her, and he punched her in the face and threw a suitcase at her, hitting her in the leg. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, and no contact with Ms. Arnett, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We also will be asking for an alcohol and drug evaluation. I'm not sure if Ms. Arnett is on the line, but we would sound for the victim, Ms. Shakira Arnett.
Ms. Arnett is with us and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Yes, Ms. Atai.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 32 years old. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. I was able to speak with the complaining witness. She stated that she does want contact with him, and she stated that she did also speak with the victim advocate and tell them the same thing. Of course, a stay away is fine. This happened at a hotel. I think he would need a one-time law enforcement escort. I understand there is some history, Your Honor. He is gainfully employed as an oil rig manager, and as you heard, he lives out of state. I would object to the ADET. He spends 28 to 48 days at a time working on an oil rig, so I would really object to any kind of conditions on the bond. And I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. And I'm only asking that after speaking with the complaining witness, and you know, she stated that she does want contact with him, and I believe she said she was going to join the call, and she said the same thing to the victim advocate, Your Honor.
Okay. It'll be $1,000 surety bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Arnett. Stay away from the incident location. He can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Martin. I believe your client has a question for you, Mr. Ty.
Do you, can I ask you what a surety bond is? Is that where I pay 10% of the bond?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, I'm sorry.
You're welcome. No problem.
We go to position number 13, Mr. McGregor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Magruder. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. Let's see, you've been charged in case 24 CR 002984J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, 2023 fleeing, eluding, reckless driving, speeding, failure to obey stop sign, failure to maintain lane, following too closely, seatbelt. That's open in Superior Court, 23 CP 224138, and an 05 battery.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to Leland Point Apartments, located at 2900 Laurel Ridge Way. I believe that the initial caller was a neighbor to the victim. But in speaking with the victim advised that her and her boyfriend, who was the defendant, were in an argument that turned physical. He spit on her, then he punched her, and he scratched her on her upper shoulder. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond. A no contact with the victim is abbreviated low. A stay away from that incident location, 2900 Laurel Ridge Way in East Point. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. I'm not sure if Ms. Lowe is on the line, but we would sound for Ms. Abrevia Lowe.
If Ms. Lowe is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Hold on, y'all. I got the camera on.
Is this Ms. Lowe?
Yeah, this me. I'm in court, but yeah, get out.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Lowe. First of all, you're not driving, are you?
No, I'm in the back seat getting out.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me?
Yeah, you see it.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay, I like to tell the court first. I didn't call the police, so it wasn't to the point where I felt threatened. I'm scared, fear for my life, or nothing of that nature. We argued, and that's what happened. Anything that was done to me, it was done to him as well. So I wasn't to the point where I just felt like, oh, I needed it. They saw, and I guess they fear for my safety as my neighbor. I don't want him in there. I didn't push the issue for him to be there. It just happened. I mean, when they got there, because she called, yeah, I reassured, yeah, that's what happened. But I didn't call them. I didn't want them. I didn't even get medical attention because it wasn't that serious. It don't happen often. It was just a misunderstanding. It was a bad night.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Lowe. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 37 years old. He is the father of 2 minor children. He is a retired Marine. He's also 100% disabled through the VA. You heard he doesn't have any, he has a battery, but it's almost 20 years ago. And other than that, it's traffic, Your Honor. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. The complaining witness stated to me that she didn't want anything to be done, as you just heard, and she doesn't understand why he was arrested. And he does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. Nothing further.
And if I could briefly just say 2 things. If it was to the point that the neighbors were concerned for her safety, that's an issue. And hearing the victim speak, I think the last thing she said to the court was, "This doesn't happen often." So that's obviously another concern for the state. So we are asking for that surety bond and no contact, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I will say that this happened May 3rd, so that's 10 days ago. My client still has bite marks and scratches on his face and chest. So, and he does state that he was not the first aggressor. And the warrant states that she had a small scratch on her right shoulder. And he showed me several injuries that he has. I mean, tooth marks.
All right, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Lowe, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you all.
We could go to XCDC until we pull the next group out.
Okay, Officer Milton, are you there in ACDC with me?
Milton? Keep going.
Okay. And whoever asking about the Woods case, we haven't gotten to the Woods case yet.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
You finished with courtroom tour, Your Honor?
For now, I think they're getting another crew for me, I believe. So we're ready, either ACDC or I'm not sure if the interpreter case.
Position number 6, Miss Holloway. Have a seat.
Hi, good afternoon, Ms. Holloway. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're doing by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Holloway. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0029994H with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
40. Resident of Forsyth, Georgia, not counting. Probation, burglary 2nd degree, 20 SC 175293. 2020 and 2019 probation violations. 2018 trespass, death by taking conviction. 2014, 2016 probation, and 2013 shoplifting conviction.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred May 10th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 1775 Lyle Avenue in College Park regarding a possible burglary. The house in question appeared to be under construction. Upon arrival, the officers noticed a broken window on the left side front of the house. The officers canvassed inside the home through the windows and saw movement on the right side floor, they found the defendant laying down covered in an orange blanket. The officers demanded through the broken window for her to get up and open the door. The defendant woke up and stated that the door cannot open and that she had to get in through breaking the window and entering that way. The defendant then decided to urinate on the left side of the house in front of the officers, and the area where she was urinating did not have any flooring down. The officers went inside the home through the broken window and ended up escorting the defendant out. The owner of the home eventually showed up on the scene. His name is Vitaly Bendiak. Mr. Bendiak stated that he did not give the defendant permission to be inside his home. Judge, based on the time of arrest, I do believe this is a Riverside issue. She was arrested May 10th, 2024 at 12:27 p.m. So with that, the state would be recommending a signature bond through the jail, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Mr. Vitaly Bendiak.
Mr. Bendiak is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, who's representing Ms. Holloway?
I am, Your Honor. We have no objection to the recommendation, Your Honor.
Okay, I'd like to also have a social worker visit to assist with housing if necessary, Mr. Cook. So it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Lyle Avenue address. No further contact with Mr. Bendiak. A social worker visit to assist with anything that Ms. Holloway may need, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. I'm gonna let you out, Ms. Holloway, but you can't go back to that house, okay?
I will not.
Okay, very good.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
all. All right. Bye, you all. Mr. Cook, good day.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a question for Mr. Ian Walker.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, was there any information update on Mr. Williams Phillips?
Yeah, I just accused his case, so it's gonna have to be an add-on.
Okay,
So let me email the clerk.
okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Thank-
Okay. We could go to position number 16. Oh, no, Your Honor, this is the new group. Can you read them their rights, please?
And also ACDC, because I have about 1, 2, 3 left.
And we also have 5, 6, 7 left.
Your
Okay,
Honor.
so, yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have the father of Roland Brown. I think he's on line now, or the mom. I'm not sure which one we had. He's the 17-year-old young man accused of the weapons charge and the marijuana, and they may be able to provide some more information. I would like it to be revisited if we could, when appropriate.
Okay, I'm not sure, have they taken, well,
No, he's still in the courtroom, Your Honor.
okay, so we'll get to him whenever you all can. I don't mind revisiting it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. If anyone objects to their case being heard by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We are providing you with the assistance of a public defender today, if you choose to utilize them. Okay, who do we have at ACDC? Or is that what we're?
Yes, Your Honor, before you is position 14, Ms.
Ms. Mishra, good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24 CR 002986J with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
20 total. On probation in the cab, hit and run. Open case in Clayton County, theft by taking. Open battery DV in the cab, fleeing an officer. Open criminal damage to property in state court, 23 CR 000472J, 2023 probation, 2023 reckless conduct conviction, and a 2013 disorderly conduct battery DV conviction.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Olive Garden located at 3390 Camp Creek Parkway. They spoke to the manager at the store who reported that the defendant came into that location with a container of food, demanding a refund. The defendant was unable to provide a receipt, so the manager did not provide that refund, which upset the defendant. She took the container of food and hit him in the chest with it and ran out the door. This was captured on video. We was out for the victim, Mr. Singpore, Sengphore, I believe. But the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Walker, I hear that she has a state court charge. Is she already, do you know anything about that bond? Or that charge?
I can give it a look, Your Honor, if I can just have 1 second, please.
Okay, thank you. And if Mr. Singpore is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 32 years old. She is the mother to three minor children, an infant, a 7-year-old, and a 14-year-old, Your Honor. She has been in custody since May 10th. I'm not saying it's a Riverside issue, but she's had her 80-year-old grandmother, who recently had surgery, taking care of her children. Her children are not able to go to school, because the grandmother's not able to take them. She's very concerned that they may get kicked out of the daycare, and also the after school programs, which really allow her to work. She works full time at Waffle House as a cook, Your Honor. She's lived in Georgia all her life. She graduated from Banneker High School. Her bond has been set for 3 days at $2,000, and she cannot afford that bond. I would ask for a signature bond, and I understand there's some history. I would ask for a signature bond, even if it's through pretrial services at whatever level, that you find appropriate, so that she can get back to her children who need her.
So, I'm sorry, were you done, Mr. Ty?
I was about to, no, that was me. And did you find it?
I did. So,
Okay.
like, you gave her a $5,000 SOB jail, and I want to say that she FTA'd on that case because I see that. Sure, there was a bond forfeiture set aside on May 8th of last year. But in addition to that, I looked at the stay away location for that case, and that was at a Wendy's. So I don't know what her issue is with restaurants. But to answer your initial question, it was a $5,000 SOB jail that you granted, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, I just want to point out that she has been working for years as a cook at the Waffle House.
How about that? Who are we on?
All right, it's going to be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Olive Garden on Camp Creek. No further contact with Mr. St. Poor, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
What was the bond amount, Judge?
1,000 good, Ms. Strong. Your client has her hands up, Mr. Ty.
I can't afford to pay to get out. My children need me right now. I don't have money to get out. I just have money to pay my bills.
Yeah, I asked the judge, he's already made his ruling.
It would be one thing, Ms. Mishra, if you have not been, you've been before me before. I gave you a
I'm
signature.
sorry. I didn't mean
I gave you a signature bond the last time you came before me for something apparently very similar to this. It appears that you were having problems with that signature bond that I gave you the last time. So that'll be the bond amount. Who do we have next?
Position number 16, Mr. Louis Corvito.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Corvito. You have been charged in case 24 CR 002992D with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 8 total. Has a current FTA out of, I think it's Judge Edline. 2022, driving under the influence, failure to maintain lane, reckless driving without a valid license. It's 23 CR 006301. Open case out of Barrow County, suspended license. Open case in Fulton. Okay, that's the DUI. Last arrest was December 8th. That's it.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched at 8215 Colquitt Road, where they met with the victim, Miss Adriana Chacon. She advised that the child of one of her children has been showing up to her apartment complex for the last several months, been making threats to her, been making unwanted contact, not only with her, but other family members. I think it went as far that he showed up at one of their jobs. On this day in question, he was outside of her apartment complex when the officer made contact with the defendant. He had a kitchen knife on his person, and he told the officer that the victim belongs with him and he was not going to leave until basically she came with him. The state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, a no contact with Miss Adriana Chacon. Stay away from that incident location, no weapons or alcohol on bond. And I think we did make contact with the victim, and from my understanding that she has an active TPO out of Cobb County on the defendant. So this probably will be a felony upgrade in the near future. But at this point, we would sign for the victim, Miss Adriana Chacon.
Ms. Chacon is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Your Honor, I'm not aware that this is my client. I am not.
Okay, let's see. Mr. Ty, is this your client?
What position are we on? Sorry.
16, Brevedo?
Yes, Your Honor. But none of that sounded familiar.
Okay, 1 second, Your Honor.
I think that they were reading
the wrong case.
Yes, that was somebody else.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So let me give it 1 second. Okay, yeah, this is a criminal trespass, way different. My apologies. Law enforcement was dispatched at 8829 Applegate Lane, where they met with the victim, Ms. Paula Flotz. The defendant came to her location. I do believe that they do share a child together, and he broke out a window in her home. We are asking for a $2,000 surety bond and no contact with Ms. Paula Flotz. Stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
And have you spoken with the alleged victim?
I believe so, Your Honor, but let me just double check.
And tell me her name again.
Paula Flotz, F-L-O-T-Z, I believe.
If Ms. Flotz is on the line and wishes to address the court, I can see that she's here. Yes, Ms. Flotz, good afternoon. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell me?
Well, as they stated before, he came into my home unannounced, and broke a window right next to our kid, and he was aware that our kid was right next to the window. So I would like to have no contact with him or him to have any contact with our child as well. We are also divorced. So that's pretty much it. I just don't want any contact.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Tao.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 23 years old. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. Of course, he's fine with no further contact and a stay away. This happened in September of last year. They have not had any contact. Nothing else has happened since then. He has lived in Georgia all his life. They do share a 3-year-old child, but he has not seen that child since September, and I don't know what the status is with visitation. But and Mr. Walker, did you NOD the cruelty to children?
Let me take a second look to make sure.
And I would say he's charged here with a criminal trespass, damage to property. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services, and he can do the 1-day anger awareness, but I would just ask for the signature bond, Your Honor. He can't afford a bond. And he doesn't have any violent history, just traffic offenses. And he is recommended for a signature bond.
The additional charge was an NOD.
Thank you.
Okay, so it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Miss Paula Flotz. Stay away from the Applegate address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and abide by any pre-existing custody arrangements for the minor child. Miss Lewis?
Judge, he has a FTA out on him on case number 23 CR 006301D, which will be reset to the next available SAP counter.
Okay.
That FTA has an $8,000 bond on it. Is that not correct?
It does, but I'm just saying he's in there for, if he doesn't make the bond, then
Oh, okay. Oh, I
This
see
will be
it.
reset for the SAP. I just want you to be aware of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And with the cruelty to children, I'm just waiting on Mr. Walker to say if he's NOD.
Yes, he said it was NOD.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position number 17. Is the interpreter on?
Yes, she's with us. Are we ready for the interpreter case?
Interpreter case. And that is position number 17, Mr. Jose Reyes.
Okay, and yes, Ms. Chancey, do you swear affirm that you will translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Reyes. You have been charged with stalking family violence.
Buenas tardes, señor Reyes. Usted ha sido acusado por acecho y violencia familiar.
Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
¿Hay antecedentes, señor Howard?
Fourth arrest,
Es el cuarto arresto.
2024 arrest in Turner County, driving without a valid license, open.
En el 2024 por manejar sin una licencia válida.
2 arrests in 2017, driving without a valid license.
2 arrestos en el 2017 por manejar sin licencia.
2016 alien inadmissibility.
Y también en el 2016 por no ser admisible por ilegalidad residencial.
Judge, that's it. I read the warrant, so if this is pretrial, it's going to be per judge, and I got to step away for a minute.
Okay.
Tengo que retirarme.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 8215 Colquitt Road in Sandy Springs, Georgia, where they met with the victim, Miss Adriana Chacon.
Fue al domicilio de I'm sorry, can you repeat the name of the street, sir?
Oh, it's spelled Colquitt.
Thank you. En el 821 5 de Colquitt en Sandy Springs, donde yo me encontré con Adriana Chacon.
The victim reported to the officer that she has a child by the defendant and has been repeatedly making unwanted contact with her and her current boyfriend.
Ella dijo que tiene un hijo con el acusado y que el acusado ha tratado repetidamente de contactarla y también contactar a su novio.
The defendant has been driving to her apartment complex and making contact with her repeatedly for the last several months. And it went as far as to the defendant going to the victim's boyfriend's job.
Él ha ido manejando hasta el departamento de ella repetidamente para contactarla durante varios meses y hasta él ha ido y se ha presentado en el trabajo en donde trabaja el novio.
On the day in question, the defendant was once again at her apartment complex. When law enforcement made contact with the defendant, he did have a kitchen knife in his pocket.
El día del incidente, cuando él fue al departamento, el oficial lo encontró con un cuchillo de la cocina en el bolsillo.
The defendant advised to the officer that he felt justified in stalking the victim because she is the mother of his child and she belongs with him.
El acusado indicó que él tenía derecho a buscarla, a seguirla, porque era la madre de sus hijos y que ella era de él.
The state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with Adriana Chacon, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond, and a stay away from 8215 Colquitt Road in Sandy Springs.
Lo que pide la fiscalía es una fianza de $5,000 bajo garantía, no tener más contacto con Adriana Chacon. Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas y también que se mantenga distanciado de la dirección 8215 Colquitt en Sandy Springs.
And we will sound for the victim, Miss Adriana Chacon, at this time.
Y vamos a llamar a la víctima, Adriana Chacón, en este momento. ¿Está presente, señora Adriana Chacón, por favor?
Does not appear that she's on the line.
No parece estar en la línea.
Miss Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Jose Reyes, is 47 years, and he and the complaining witness have lived together for 14 years.
Su señoría, mi cliente, el señor José Reyes, tiene 47 años de edad y ha vivido con la demandante por 14 años.
And they also have two children together, 7 and 9 years old.
También tiene dos hijos juntos de 7 y 9 años de edad.
So my client definitely want to see his children. And what my client believes is those two people are strangers to his wife.
Mi cliente, por supuesto, quiere ver a sus hijos y él cree que esas dos personas son extraños para la esposa de él.
They could be kidnapping children and his wife. He was very concerned of their safety.
Ellos podrían estar raptando, haberla raptado a la esposa y los hijos. Realmente él estaba muy preocupado por la señora y los hijos.
My client is gainfully employed at restaurant.
Mi cliente está empleado con un sueldo en un restaurante.
And he has been working there for more than 4 years.
Y él ha estado trabajando allí por más de 4 años.
And he completed elementary school in Mexico.
Él terminó la escuela primaria en México.
And Your Honor, we would like to, he denies the allegation, of course, and he does not mind staying away from Sandy Springs. That's not where he resides.
Y su señoría, él niega los alegatos y no tiene ningún problema con mantenerse distanciado de la residencia de Sandy Springs, porque él no vive ahí.
That's it.
Miss Kim, I must have missed something. I'm not sure what two people you're talking about.
Debo haberme confundido. ¿De qué dos personas está hablando, señorita Kim?
Complaining witness is claiming that Anderson Briceno is a current boyfriend of Adriana Reyes Chacon, but they have not known each other very long.
El señor Anderson Briceno es el nuevo novio de Adriana Chacón, o sea, no se han conocido durante mucho tiempo.
And Briceno's auntie is Uranima Montanes. So these two people are complaining witness. My client, his child's mother is not actually complaining.
Entonces, Urima Montañez es la segunda persona que junto con Anderson Briceno son los demandantes. O sea que los hijos de, la madre de los hijos de mi cliente no es la que está demandando.
If I can, y'all, just to make this clear. So the victim lives with her boyfriend and his family. And at this point, I'm going to request a mental health evaluation because she has not been kidnapped and she did complain to the officer. This is where she resides. She does not reside with the defendant. I understand that counsel said they reside together for the last 14 years. That is not correct. She lives with her boyfriend and his family. And she is also a complaining witness. And she did make it clear to the officer that he's been stalking her and her family for several months now.
Bueno, la víctima confesó de que ella vive con su novio, reside en ese lugar y no con el acusado, y no han estado juntos por 14 años. Eso no es correcto, y tampoco es correcto que ella no sea la demandante. Ella también es la demandante entre los otros dos.
And also to make clear, counsel said they resided together for 14 years. I just want to make it known to the court that the victim is only 30 and he's about 17 years older than her. So if they were residing together for 14 years, that means she was a juvenile.
Entonces se dijo que han estado juntos por 14 años, ella tiene 30 años, entonces quiere decir que ellos han estado juntos por 17 años, lo que indicaría que ellos comenzaron a estar juntos cuando ella era menor.
First of all, they were in Mexico. They may have a different rules. And children, oldest one is 9 years old.
Bueno, en realidad esto ocurrió en México, que pueden tener diferentes regulaciones, y uno de los hijos tiene 9 años.
All right. If nothing further, it will be a $2,000 good bond.
Va a ser una fianza bajo garantía de $2,000.
No further contact with Ms. Chacon.
No tener más contacto con la señora Chacon.
Stay away from the Colquitt Road address.
Tiene que mantenerse distanciado de la dirección de Colquitt,
Abide by any pre-existing custody arrangements for visitation.
Tiene que obedecer cualquier visita estipulada ya con los niños.
No driving without a valid license.
No conducir un vehículo sin una licencia válida.
And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Y se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Okay, do we need Ms. Chancey's services for any other cases today? I don't believe so. Thank you, Ms. Chancey. I appreciate you being here as always.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good evening.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Position 15, Jessica Morgan.
Good afternoon, Ms. Morgan. You have been charged in case 24 CR 0022990G with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
Fifth arrest, 2021 simple battery dismissed. 2013 ag assault conviction.
Yes, Sean. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2450 Old National Parkway in College Park, where they met with the victim, David Smith. According to my notes, the victim is the father of the defendant's child. They were having a verbal disagreement, at which time the defendant struck him. This was observed and captured on camera, where the defendant struck the victim several times in the face. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no contact with David Smith, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
If Mr. Smith is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Has your office had any contact with him, Mr. Walker?
No, I believe that he's incarcerated on a separate charge.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 33 years old. She is the mother to 4 minor children, ages 12, 8, 6, and 4. She's also studying business at Strayer University. She does firmly deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. She tells me that, well, and the warrant states that the complaining witness was arrested for an aggravated assault a few hours before. She states that he was going around and hitting people with a gun. And she is recommended for a signature bond. The booking sheet indicates that she was also arrested on May 1st. So I would say that this is very clearly a Riverside issue. I would ask for a signature bond to the jail. And she's fine with no further contact and staying away from the hotel.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Smith. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good
And
luck to you, Ms. Morgan.
Your Honor, sorry, she may need a one-time law enforcement escort to get anything that's left there.
Okay, and if necessary, a one-time law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that you might have there, ma'am. All right, good luck to you.
Next, we have position 18.
The Fulton County Sheriff, position 20, Mr. Williams, come sit up here.
And they're going back to the meeting. See, Courtney coming up, so just you gotta hold it. Really?
Okay, so
Position number 20.
where would you all like me to go? I have two people that were just called.
Position 20 at Fulton County Jail, Williams Courtney.
Okay, Mr. Williams, good afternoon. You've been charged in case 24 CR 002997B with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard? No history? No? Okay. Yes, Ms. McConkey.
Yes, so officers were dispatched to the incident location, which I have is 3215 Candlewood Drive, Apartment J in East Point, in reference to a fight. The victim, Desiree Taylor, advised that the defendant, the victim's mother, Audrey Hammond, and the victim's sister, Athasia Gross, had gotten into an argument regarding the lease of the residence. Ms. Hammond asked the defendant to give her back her car keys, to which the defendant refused. The defendant then pushed Ms. Hammond, at which point the victim stated, "Don't push my mom." The defendant then became irate, grabbed the victim, pushed her into the wall, and when officers they did observe a laceration on the victim's arm, as well as a hole in the wall where the defendant had pushed the victim. The state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond, stay away from the incident location, no further contact with the victim, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And at this time, I would like to sound for the victim, Ms. Desiree Taylor, or her mom, Audrey Hammond, who I believe I saw on the Zoom.
Ms. Hammond, if you would like to address the court, I will need for you to unmute yourself. Okay, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
That it was an isolated incident. Nothing like this has ever happened before. I think emotions was just running high at the moment. And as far as the keys, I did ask my keys, but I didn't know that he had ended up giving them to my daughter. So it's not like he kept the keys away from me. But I never had no issues with my son. Never had no issues. It was like I said, it's an isolated incident. And I know it would never happen again. I know for a
Okay.
fact that it wouldn't.
So, who lives at the Candlewood Drive address?
You said who lives? Me,
Who lives at
me,
that address?
me, Mr. Williams, his girlfriend, and my daughter, Desiree.
Okay. All right, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Hammond.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client, Mr. Williams, is 26 years young. And Your Honor, he has been here in Georgia for more than 20 years. He graduated from Lovejoy High School, and also he went to Talladega University for psychology major. He graduated 2020, and he is pursuing master's degree. So he's not really working because he was always full-time student. He has not worked for the last 2 weeks. He's qualified for public defender services. And Your Honor, this house is for everybody together. We would like to request for no further violent contact and signature on bond through jail or maximum pretrial, because Your Honor, this is he never had any kind of arrest history. And I believe the alleged victim is younger sister, 21 years old, and they live together, Your Honor.
Okay. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with the alleged victims, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you all.
Your Honor,
Yes.
position 21, Edward Wood,
Okay,
And after that, Your Honor, we'll have position 18, Ms. Tilly.
okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Woods. You've been charged in case 24 CR 002981B with 2 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers and pedestrian and roadway. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
8 total. On probation for ag stalking and ag assault. 23 SC 185641. 2021 battery DV that was dismissed. 2014 simple battery dismissed. And a 2011 ag assault dead docket.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officers were traveling eastbound on Ralph Abernathy Boulevard Southwest near Windsor Street when they noticed the defendant jog in front of the patrol vehicle, causing the officer to come to a complete stop. The defendant looked into the vehicle, smiled, and said, "Yeah, F you talking about," and then giggled. The officer placed the patrol vehicle in park and exited the vehicle to speak with the defendant. The defendant then proceeded to run away on the sidewalk. The officer got back into the patrol vehicle and headed towards the defendant. The defendant ran into a parking lot located at 288 Ralph Abernathy Boulevard Southwest. The officer entered the lot, stopped the patrol vehicle, and attempted again to speak to the defendant, but the defendant once again began running. The officer began chase and eventually was able to apprehend the defendant with the help of a second officer. The state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services and no drug, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay. Mr. Shipman, are you here on this case?
No, no, Judge.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Actually, he's my client, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Kim.
No problem, Your Honor. He is 31 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He has a GED, Your Honor, and also he's self-employed. He owns his own business. He does music, and he is very involved in community. He has become mentor and leader to lots of young children, Your Honor. He has 3 children, 1, 9, and 12 years old. He's a proud father. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail. He has his left leg, basically right next to the knee. You can actually literally see almost the bone because of the scrapes was so severe. He fell down, scratched, and his arm and his leg are right now injured. They have to change the bandage to avoid any kind of infection. So I think he should get proper medical attention. I believe officers who was trying to catch him was too aggressive, and he's charges pedestrian in the roadway. Your Honor, he was just walking by. I don't think that that's a huge crime at all. I don't understand why he has to be arrested for walking in roadway, Your Honor. And I just want to verify the fact that another charge is completely NOD'd because it doesn't have any other. We only have 3 charges, right, Your Honor?
That's correct. What was the
Correct.
other charge, Miss Kim?
Willful obstruction of law enforcement, 2 of them. So because of the 2 officers, Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond. He was arrested at May 10. If we do this a little bit later, it will be almost to Riverside. However, it's still under 7:30 p.m. He was arrested 7:23 p.m. So
You misunderstood my question, Miss Kim. You were inquiring about an NOD, and I'm trying to see if
okay.
if you have adequately gotten that answered for you.
Okay, I do not know. That's Ian Walker's answer that we have to get it from. Mr. Ian?
Yeah, so one of the charges, the possession charge, that was NOD.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Kim, would your client benefit from a social worker visit? I mean,
Yes.
is there?
It
All
is.
right. So it'll be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each charge, makes for a total of a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. I want him to have a social worker visit to assist him with whatever he needs assisting with, whether it's housing or some other issue. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you very, very much, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Woods. Now we're going to position number 18, is that right? Pronounce your
Yes,
pronounce
Your
your
Honor.
pronounce your last name for me, ma'am?
Lay.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Lay. You've been charged in case 24 CR 0029993J with harassing communications. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, fit the rest. Got an open case out of Douglas County, criminal damage to property. That's pretty much it. This would be per judge too if you gave up pretrial.
Okay. Ms. McConkey?
So these incidents occurred between March 24th, 2024 and May 2nd, 2024. The defendant kept calling and texting the victim, Joy Foster. Excuse me. The defendant kept calling and texting the victim, Joy Foster. Joy Foster's minor child, who I will refer to as JS, and Joy Foster's mother, Arlene Foster, after repeatedly being told to stop. The defendant sent text messages from Text Now phone numbers and created a group thread containing Ms. Foster and her family and friends, in which the defendant stated that she would kill everyone in the group chat. Ms. Foster changed her phone number and her email address, and eventually the defendant stopped communication with her through Ms. Foster's phone number and email. The defendant then began FaceTiming and calling Ms. Foster's 8-year-old son, and created several Text Now accounts in an attempt to reach Ms. Foster through her child. The defendant also started FaceTiming, texting, and calling Ms. Arlene Foster, the victim's mother. Ms. Arlene Foster told the defendant to stop contacting her, to which the defendant refused and is still contacting Ms. Arlene Foster. Our office got a chance to speak with the victim, who stated that the defendant is someone that was involved with her child's father and that her and the defendant have no relationship with each other. The victim also stated that she does not know why the defendant keeps harassing her and her family, and that the defendant has spoofed her mother, Miss Arlene Foster, and her son's phone number, and has been messaging people pretending to be them. The victim also stated that she wants no contact with the defendant and wants her to stay away from her and her residence. I do believe that this is a Riverside issue, as it looks like the defendant was arrested May 8th at 10:18 a.m. So because of that, the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, to stay away from the victim's residence, which I believe is 2265 Farley Court, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Your
At
Honor,
this time, it's down for the victim is Joy Foster, or the victim's mom, Miss Arlene Foster.
If either of the Fosters are on the line and wish to address the court, now will be your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Yes, Miss Kim.
yes, we have no objection to signature on bond through jail. However, the address is my client's work. If I want to verify, I want to verify with my client, Miss Tina Bynat, is that your workplace? The address that she was mentioning to stay away? Would you please give me address one more time? ASG Tracy Mukake.
Yeah, so the address I have is 2265 Farley Court, East Point. That looks like the incident location. If that is not the victim's address, then I would just like the defendant to stay away from wherever the victim's residence is.
Yeah. That location is, I think, my client's workplace, and my client completely denies the allegation, Your Honor.
Okay, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with either Joy or Arlene Foster or the minor child. Stay away from the victim's home location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Can we do the add-on position, Mr. Williams Phillips?
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor. Bye,
okay.
everybody.
See you next time.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. Let's see, you've been charged in case 24 CR 003004J with willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and driving while your license was suspended or revoked. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 22 total. Has a current probation hold. On probation in Fulton, sale of marijuana. 21 SC 178042. Also on probation for ag assault. 23 SC 185949. Open case in Fulton, DUI, reckless driving, seatbelt.
Followed by the pound key.
Trespass obstruction. That's 22 CP 213942. Another open case, possession of a firearm by convicted felon, 23 CP. Ian, that's you?
I'm sorry, I'm on the phone with the judge at the same time. I'm sorry.
23 CP 221511. And they got another open case as well. I'll leave it at that.
That's right. I'm sorry, I was on the phone with the judge, but essentially the officer ran his tags. It was determined that his license was suspended. The defendant did have marijuana on his person. The state did NOD the marijuana charge. For the obstruction, we're asking for a $500 surety. For the driving with a suspended license, a $1,000 surety. No weapon, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
It's Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 30 years old and I believe he is actually a proud father of two children, 8 and 7 years old, and he completed GED, and he is also working as a cook at the breakfast and bar restaurant, Your Honor. And he has been very responsible, and he is also involved in the community as a football coach, Your Honor. He has a probation violation, so he cannot go anywhere. He has to take care of that. It's gonna take a long, long time. I would like to request for a signature on bond on these two charges. Thank you.
The charge, it'll be a $500 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Thank
Your
you,
Honor, you
sir.
said 500 on each one, which makes it 2,000?
No, 1,000. 500 on each. There are two charges, right?
It was 3, so.
I believe one was NOD, the marijuana charge.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
We're gonna, Mr. Brown, I see your note there. We're gonna address your son momentarily. So if you just hang on for me, I'll hear what you have to say.
Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm here, but I don't have the video enabled.
Can we enable the Browns video, please? Okay, there you go. All right, I've already heard the underlying matter. Who was Ms. Desiano?
Yes.
Back with Mr. Roland Brown. Can you tell me about the guns, please, or the gun that was found?
Yes, Judge, there are actually 2 firearms that were found when the officer searched the vehicle. He found 10 grams of marijuana, a silver slide and brown frame 9mm is the first gun. And the second gun is a green and silver 38 special.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. and Ms. Brown, if you all can unmute yourself. Great, okay, if you have to see if you can stay unmuted for me.
I'm not sure why I keep back.
Okay, you might have to find a better position to be in, a better location to be in if you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It's very spotty. Is there any way that you can try to move to another location where we can hear you better?
Let me step out.
Okay.
Is this better?
That is better, ma'am. Yes. Okay, and what if you can raise your right hand for me. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down and tell me your name.
Renice Brown,
And Miss Brown, who are you to Roland Brown?
stepmother.
Okay, and what did you want to tell me about Mr. Brown?
Well, he's a good kid. He's never been in any trouble. The guns that were in the car, he didn't know they were in the car. I usually take my other truck to work. And when I leave for work, or when I get out of the car for work, I leave my gun in the car because I work in the medical field. When he took my truck, I didn't realize I had left my gun in the car. I usually take it and put it back in the bag and come inside. As far as the other gun, when we were out, I let somebody put their gun in my truck because we were at a club and they couldn't take a gun in the club. And I just neglected to let them get the gun back. I totally forgot about it, to be honest. But the green revolver gun, that's my gun. And I do have the paperwork with me to prove that. And generally it was in the door, and usually I take it right out of the door, put it in my handbag, and then bring it back inside. But I let him use the truck, not thinking or not remembering that my gun was still in there.
Okay. Tell me about your son. Is he in school?
He is in high school. He's been here a little less than a year. We moved him here to stay away from other people that were like causing problems where he was in Louisiana. So we brought him here to be in a better place. So he's in school. He works for one of my family members from time to time, helping him do stuff with he builds houses and fix up houses. So he helps him do that. And he also helps with landscaping with another relative when he's not in school.
Okay.
Your Honor, I believe, excuse me for jumping in, I believe Miss Brown was recently in an accident and
yeah, I told him
that has caused some financial issues that would make the surety bond very, very difficult to make.
Yeah, I literally just went back to work this week on April 12th. I totaled my truck, and so I haven't been able to work, and I don't have like PTO and stuff because I'm LLC for the medical position that I'm in. So I don't get like PTO or sick time or any additional funds like that. If I'm not working, I just don't have the income.
Okay, so either you or your husband's gonna, if I give him a signature bond, we'll have to come and sign for him. Who's gonna do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We'll both be there.
Okay, and the spelling of your name is Renise?
Correct.
Okay, and your husband's name is Roland?
Correct.
Okay, so Mr. Cook, I will make those good bonds that I previously ruled. I'll change those through to signature bonds, so it'll be for the possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age, a 10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the other two charges, they will both be $500 signature bonds through pretrial level 1. He will still, I'm giving him a curfew. The curfew, he will have to be in by 9 p.m. and he'll have to stay in until 6 a.m. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for revisiting that, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
We can do the waive case position number 2, Mr. Beavers.
Okay. Mr. Beavers is charged in case 24 CR 002988Y with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
He's on probation, trespass, disorderly conduct. 23 CR 007-465Y. Also on probation for another trespass. 23 CR 007-236Y. Last arrest was this year for trespass and disorderly conduct.
Graciano?
Yes, Judge, this incident occurred May 11th, 2024. Officers responded to report a criminal trespass call at the St. Regis Hotel located at 88 West Paces Ferry Road, Northwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, hotel security advised that the defendant had previously been trespassed from the St. Regis and escorted off their property. He was escorted off their property that day again for harassing hotel guests and staff. Your Honor, this case may sound familiar to you. I believe this individual was before you exactly 1 week ago today, accused of criminal trespass at the St. Regis Hotel. You gave him a $1,000 SOB through the jail and an order to stay away from the St. Regis. He obviously didn't do that. The defendant was not on the property at the time the police arrived, but he was positively ID'd by hotel security as the male that was escorted off the property, and the police found him just down the street. Given that we were just here a week ago on this, Judge, we'd ask for a $500 surety bond, another stay away, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Clerk?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 42 years old and he has lived in Metro Atlanta his entire life. He waved. I spoke to him again briefly today at the jail. He's probably homeless, not working. He would have no chance of making a surety bond. So we would ask the court for a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
So something's going on with Mr. Beavers, Mr. Cook. I'd like to
Yes,
have
sir.
a social worker visit him. I am going to give him I can't continue to give him signature bonds, and he comes back, and we need to figure out what's going on with him and why he keeps doing this allegedly. So it'll be a $500 good bond. Social worker visit, stay away from the St. Regis Hotel, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And unfortunately, I am not on that 28th calendar, but if you will, maybe we can see all of his cases on the 28th, whoever's on that calendar that day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Who else do we have?
We have position number 22, but the quorum is not clear.
Okay. What about position number 1?
Behavior reset.
That's reset until tomorrow?
He stated that he had posted bond, but nothing has came back for sure.
Well, I guess we need to reset him till tomorrow out of an abundance of caution if he doesn't get
Yes,
out, right?
he would. Yes, we started the interview. He cut it off. He didn't. He was certain he was going to get the bond to the extent where he didn't want to go farther with the interview. If he's not in the courtroom, if we were in the courtroom, maybe we could go forward. But if he's not, I guess we need to reset it.
Excuse me, update on Mr. Bates. Mr. Bates made bond with Eastwood Bonding Company on May the 13th. That's why I don't see him.
So he was right. Good for Mr. Bateman. Thank you.
Okay, so he's released. And
I'm sorry, who are we talking about? It's muffled on my end, so I can't understand. Who was released?
position number 1, Mr. Bateman.
Myron Bateman.
Casey, he already posted bond.
So let's see, can we get the courtroom cleared so we can take Mr. Zachary?
We still have the 17-year-old in here. I'm waiting on Officer Gopi to return to escort him back.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Go ahead, Mr. Cook.
I'm sorry, I still have a Dwayne Bryant that has not.
He's been
Okay.
upgraded
To a felony?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And just so we don't, while we're waiting for that to happen, Ms. Strong, can we go over the calendars, so we can utilize the time?
Sure.
Thank
Position
you.
Position number 1 was released. Position number 2 is a $500 good bond, reset SAP 528. Position number 3 was a $11,000 signature bond through pretrial with a level 1 with a parental cosigner. Position number 4 was a $1,000 good bond. Position number 5 was a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. 6, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 7 was a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 8 was a $1,000 good bond. Position 9 was a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 10, $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number 11, $1,000 good bond. 12, $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. 13, $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. 14 was a $1,000 good bond. 15, $2,000 signature bond through the jail. 16, $2,000 signature bond through the jail. 17 was a $2,000 good bond. 18 was a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. 19, $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. 20 was a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 1. 21 was a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. 22 we're holding on, and the add-on was a $1,000 signature bond through the jail.
Hey, what's the contact for 12 and 13?
It was a no further violent contact for 12, 1-day anger awareness, and 13 was a 1-day anger awareness and a no further violent contact.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, we had one that ASG Walker referred to Pad, Daquan Moss, but Pad, they informed me during court that they're not able to take him. ASG Walker, what, I sent you an email.
Okay, I saw it. So I mean, we can have the hearing. I'm gonna recommend a SOB jail still. So
All right, but so I wasn't sure if you were able to accuse it in time for a bond to be set
I'm
today.
actually, I'm looking at it right now.
Thank you.
And who is that, so we can see if they can get him?
Moss.
Saint Surin, are you there?
It looks like he's also being held on felony. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, he been since February.
When I checked Odyssey, it says UJR, so I think the bond was reset for that.
1 second.
I'm here. What was the question?
Oh, can you get Daquan Moss? Pad isn't able to take him, so he needs to have a first appearance or an appearance.
So somebody would have to interview him and then.
Since he's not getting out, can we just put him on for tomorrow?
I think he actually did get a signature bond today or sometime recently.
He's ready to be released.
Oh, okay.
He did receive a UJR on his felony charges, Judge.
And I've interviewed him.
All right, so we're gonna have to clear the courtroom so we can do the number 22, and then we'll have to bring him in. So whenever that's accomplished.
Well, it's just me in the courtroom, Your Honor, so it's just me today.
No, I understand. So court will be in recess until we're ready to proceed.
Judge Morrow, I'm gonna start sending you the orders over, if that's okay.
Yes, Ms. Strong, go ahead and do that, and I'll get them signed and back to you.
Your Honor, I'm gonna go ahead and escort the 17-year-old back and both defendants return to inmates, go back up to court to get Mr. Moss and bring him down.
Okay, and so we'll wait up. So is Mr. Zachary gonna be there?
No, because I have to bring back the 17-year-old, so. We'll just.
Okay, okay. Well, just let me know when y'all are ready. Thank you.
What you gotta do?
He has to wait until he comes back.
All right, come on.
Your Honor, I'm back. We could do position number 22.